Complete New York Jets mock Offseason 2.0. Let's get it. I'm a ball out Joe Douglas. I'm going to spend every single dollar. We got to make some cuts, bring back our own guys, bring in some big names, and a full 7-round mock draft to finish it off. Let's not waste any time. Let's get right into it. New York Jets, we are going to start off this season with about $75 million in cap space. We need some more. How are we going to get it? 3 cuts right off the bat. Greg Van Roten, Ryan Griffin, Sheldon Rankins. Gentlemen, thank you for your service. We're going to save about $14 million by cutting these 3 players, but I want some more cap space, so we're going to make some less notable cuts as well. I'm cutting Chuma Edoga, Trevon Wesco, LaMichael Pirine, Blake Cashman, Cameron Clark, bringing us to a post-cut salary cap number of $90 million. But I want 100. Let's get that. Benjamin, how are we going to get it? Hey, CJ Mosley, you're a team guy, right? I'm going to ask you to take $10 million of that fat $16 million in base salary, bundle it into a nice little signing bonus for us, and give us $100 million of salary cap space to work with. $20 million of that, we're going to need to sign our hella expensive draft class, leaving us with an ample $80 million to bring in our own guys and make some offers to players from other teams. But first, who are we going to pass on? Who are we letting walk? I'm going to let defensive tackle Foley Fodokasi walk, Jamison Crowder, safety Marcus May, and offensive tackle Morgan Moses all go get paid somewhere else. Foley, good in the locker room, good against the run, but defensive interior is now a strength of the team. Wide receiver Jamison Crowder, being a really good pro for us, but Elijah Moore is now fully ready to take over the slot receiver role. Marcus May, torn Achilles, fractured relationship with the team. He's ready for a fresh start, so are the Jets, and Morgan Moses was solid for us at right tackle last year, but he'd be too expensive to bring back as a backup, and he'll probably be looking for starting work somewhere else. Now, which of our own players do we want back in green and white next season? You knew we had to bring back Braxton Berrios, wide receiver, kick returner, special teams ace, and he's just a dog. I love Braxton Berrios. 3 years, $22 million. Might seem a little rich for a wide receiver number 4, but again, we need to be 4 deep at wide receiver, and he's an ace, an all-pro on special teams. Let's bring him back. Mike White, balled out against the Bengals, then it kind of all imploded, but I think he's fine as a backup. In 2 years, $5 million is a fair price to pay. Dan Feeney, love the mullet. Like your play? I'm not buying my Dan Feeney jersey anytime soon, but $2 million for a guy who can come in, be our backup guard, can also play center in a pinch, and I think he really provides some depth and a veteran presence on our offensive line. Tevin Coleman was our running back number 2 last year. I like him better as a running back number 3, so we're going to address this position further, but 1 year, $1.5 million is fine for him to help round out our running back depth chart. Now, here we go. Okay, we got to bring back a couple more guys, less notable. Eddie Pinheiro, kicker, fullback Nick Bawden, defensive end Tim Ward, wide receiver Jeff Smith, who also plays special teams, and a couple of defensive tackles in Nathan Shepard and Kyle Phillips, with a remaining salary cap of $60 million to do the fun part, to go ahead and bring in some big names from other teams. My first call is going to be down to the Bayou. I want to bring in safety Marcus Williams from the New Orleans Saints. We're going to give him the bag. 4 years, $64 million. Pro Football Focus score, 80. Elite. Versatility. Age. Dependability. Position of need. This is a home run signing for the New York Jets and is an immediate improvement to a beleaguered safety group last season. We're still going to need to come back to safety in the draft, but man, what an improvement. He can come down in supporting the run game. He can play center field. He can cover backs and tight ends. He can do everything. He's a Swiss Army knife in our secondary. Love this signing. Now, turning over to the offensive side of the ball, brought back Braxton Berrios for depth, but we don't have a wide receiver number 1, not for long. Allen Robinson of the Chicago Bears joins the New York Jets on a 2-year, $31 million deal. Last year, production dipped, targets cut in half. But check the resume. 3 years with over 1,100 yards receiving and 40 career touchdowns, immediately becomes the most accomplished wide receiver on the Jets roster, still yet to turn 29 years old. Let's bring him in on a 2-year deal. This is like when we brought in Brandon Marshall. It's going to be an immediate injection of life into our passing game and is going to be a big help to developing quarterback Zach Wilson. Now we can slide Corey Davis to our number 2 wide receiver position. Elijah Moore mans the slot, Braxton Berrios for depth, and Denzel Mims still kind of a wild card at the position. We can keep track of our remaining budget up in the top right in blue. We have $28 million left to spend. Where do we turn next? Offensive line. We're going to bring in guard Austin Corbett from the Los Angeles Rams, 3 years, $25 million. I don't want to go into the draft needing to fill this hole. Let's go ahead, bring in a solid starter. He's not elite, he's not a mauler, but he's an upgrade of anything we had last year. He's young, it's a good value, 3 years, $25 million, Pro Football Focus score, high 60s, clean player, only 2 sacks allowed, doesn't commit penalties. Let's put him at right guard for the next 3 years and forget about the position. Back to the defensive side of the ball. Oh, not yet. Wait a minute, we're not done on offense. We need a tight end. And man, David Njoku, tagged. Mike Gesicki, tagged. Dalton Schultz, tagged. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to overpay to bring in tight end Zach Ertz. I know $11 million. It's a bit steep for Zach Ertz at this point in his career, but at least it's on a 1-year deal and we need a proven pro at the position. It was maybe the worst position group on the team last year. We have some draft picks, but we're not taking a tight end at 10. And we don't know who's going to be there in the second round, so we need to bring in a tight end in free agency. He's the best one left. But hey, no slouch. Check the numbers. 74 catches, 763 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Those all would have been good to lead the New York Jets last season. We're also going to draft a tight end. So we can draft a tight end with one of our second-round picks, which we'll see in a minute. And then that tight end can learn from Zach Ertz and then take over the starting job next season when Zach Ertz, $11 million, comes off the books. We tried to run that 11 personnel last year. Didn't have the horses to do it. Now we do. Let's bring in Zach Ertz. $11 million left to spend. Now we're going back to defense. Linebacker, Foyesay Oluokun of the Atlanta Falcons. 3 years, $22 million. The stats and the analytics are not kind to him, but he flashes on tape, he's speedy, he's young, he's reliable. And this, unlike some of my other signings, is actually something I could see Joe Douglas doing. Coming off that rookie contract, right in his prime, ascending player, good value, immediate upgrade to our team, can start next to CJ Mosley in our base 4-3 defense. $4 million left. I'm going to use it to bring in running back James Conner of the Arizona Cardinals. 2 years, $8 million. Yards per carry, not what you'd like, but man, 15 touchdowns in 2021. I had to triple check that. Yes, he's a bigger back, 220 pounds, red zone, short yardage. Can be a good counterpunch to Michael Carter's scat back abilities. Tevin Coleman rounds out the running back room. Now we don't have to worry about running back at all when we head into the NFL draft, which, the New York Jets are about to be on the clock. We have 4 picks in the top 40, 2 in the top 10. We're on the clock at number 4, and the pick is in, and it is Ahmad Sauce Gardner, cornerback, Cincinnati, 6'2", 190, never allowed a touchdown as a starter. Dude hasn't allowed a touchdown since Todd Bowles was coaching the New York Jets. Gave up less than 200 yards in the entire season last year. He is sticky. Wide receivers are going to be covered in sauce. Going to track the opposing team's number 1 wideout across the field. Going to cover Stephon Diggs. Now Bryce Hall moves into your cornerback number 2, Michael Carter in the slot. And now your cornerback room really shuffles into place. And man, this young man, what a character upgrade. What a culture building move. Everything this young man says is dripping in authenticity and charisma and leadership. He says he's never drank or smoked anything at all because, quote unquote, the game is enough for me to feel some type of way. I love it. Let's bring in Sauce Gardner. Next, number 10, Jets on the clock. Pick is in. We need edge. And there's a really, really good one on the board. Travon Walker from Georgia, 6'5", 272, and a 4.51. Woo, that is moving at that size. Pro comp, Emmanuel Ogbah, not the flashiest name. He's not going to be a 15 sack a year guy, but really consistent, 8 to 10 sacks a year, good against the run, long arms, going to get pressures, going to bat down balls, and could be a nice bookend edge rusher to pair with Carl Lawson coming back from the injury. Now John Franklin Myers, Quinnen Williams slide to the inside. Now we have 4 players who can consistently beat single teams, and we can pressure the quarterback without blitzing. So we have dramatically changed our life defensively with these first 2 picks, a sticky cornerback number 1 and a really good edge rusher at number 10. We have a couple picks in the second round. Remember we signed Zach Ertz and I said we were bringing in another tight end? That's going to be Trey McBride at number 35 overall. From Colorado State, look at those numbers last year. 90 catches, over 1,100 yards, 6'4", 260, measurables, all a check. The pro comp is the guy we wanted but missed out on, Dalton Schultz. Hey, we don't have to pay Dalton Schultz $15 million. We can get him in the second round. Let's bring in Trey McBride. Our next second round pick is going to complement another free agent signing. We signed Marcus Williams, but the safety room was depleted last year. We need another player in there, and we're going to find a really good one in Jaquan Brisker, safety, Penn State. 6'1", 200 pounds, sub 4, 540. Pro comp is Micah Hyde. A do-it-all safety, not great at anything, but a jack of all trades and could be interchangeable with Marcus Williams. Now we have 2 really, really good safeties. We saw how the Buffalo Bills kind of built that defense up the middle, strong at linebacker, strong at safety. That's what we want to be too. Now, moving into the third round. We signed a linebacker. We need another one. Christian Harris, linebacker, Alabama, 6'1", 225, a little smaller, but you see the speed there. 4.44 for an off-the-ball linebacker is moving. Miles Jack is the comparison, probably a better athlete than a football player at this point in his career, but is going to compete with Quincy Williams for that other starting linebacker position next to our signee from Atlanta and CJ Mosley at the mic. We have 2 picks in the 4th round and 2 picks in the 5th round. Let's go ahead and round out day 3 of the draft. Round 4, I'm looking for depth on the offensive line. Here we're drafting for versatility, we're drafting for traits. I'm going to bring in Taylor Mumford, guard/tackle, Ohio State, and Ibina Eze, offensive tackle, TCU. Eze projects as a backup swing tackle in the NFL. We need one of those. And Taylor Mumford, he's got the measurables, 6'5", 327, good athlete. Let's bring both of these guys in, develop them, and see if we can find a role for them. This might be a little controversial, but I'm gotta come away with a kicker. And I want to spend our first 5th round pick on a kicker to make sure we get the number 1 kicker off the board. That's Parker White, South Carolina. 16 out of 17 field goals were good last year and also made a 54-yarder, showing us he has the leg strength to kick on Sundays. He's going to compete with Eddie Pinheiro, and I'm projecting him to win the starting kicker position. We saw when we've been shuffling through kickers the past few seasons, it changes how you have to call plays. It changes how the other team prepares against you. You have to have a reliable kicker in the NFL to be considered a legitimate contender. Let's get one in the 5th round. And finally, to finish off our draft, we lost Foley Fotokasi, so I'm going to bring in a nose tackle, a run stuffer, 6'3", 358 pounds. That's Morgan McCall from Kentucky. Eases the sting of losing Foley a little bit, can play, rotate in on early downs, and be a really good run defender for the New York Jets. Now, man, we brought back some familiar faces. We gave the bag to a couple of big name free agents and brought in a bunch of youth with our draft picks. What do the new look New York Jets look like? Let's get into our projected 2022 depth chart, starting with our quarterbacks and our offensive line. Zach Wilson is the QB1. Mike White's the backup. James Morgan rounds out the depth chart. Moving to the offensive line. Not a lot of changes here. George Fant and Mekhi Becton return as the tackles. AVT, along with our signee from Los Angeles, are the guards. Connor McGovern stays at center. The backups are Dan Feeney, McDermott, and our 2 draft picks that we took in the 4th round. Next, improve skill position groups for Zach Wilson to throw to and to hand the ball off to. Allen Robinson comes in and is our wide receiver number 1. Corey Davis moves to the out, also his counterpart on the outside. Elijah Moore manning the slot. Braxton Berrios for depth and special teams. Denzel Mims, still kind of a wild card. And Jeff Smith, he's really there just to play special teams. Looking to running back, we have a really good 1A, 1B tandem. Michael Carter, James Conner. Tevin Coleman, solid number 3. And Ty Johnson is our number 4 borderline practice squad level player. Got 2 new tight ends. Zach Ertz, the veteran, gave him $11 million. And then Trey McBride is our number 2 tight end, but not for long. He'll be our starter in 2023. And then we have Kenny Yeboah, last year's late round pick, to round out the tight end room. Moving on to the other side of the ball. man, look at that front four. Carl Lawson and Trevon Walker as bookend edge rushers. JFM and Q slide into the inside. The depth leaves a little bit to be desired, but we do have Bryce Huff, who flashed as a pass rusher before getting injured last year. Linebackers, 2 new starters on opposite sides of CJ Mosley. We signed a Luakon, and we drafted Christian Harris, who I think will beat out Quincy Williams in training camp for our third linebacker position. Finally, let's take a look at our secondary. Ahmad Sauce Gardner, CB1, Bryce Hall, our other corner on the outside, Michael Carter, holding down the slot, Brandon Eccles and Isaiah Dunner for depth, and Justin Hardy, he's really just there to play special teams. Safety, 2 new starters. Marcus Williams got the bag, Jaquan Brisker, really good value in the second round, and Ashton Davis and Jason Pinnock are the backups. Woo! We did it, and I got it done in 15 minutes. All right, let me know what you think. I brought it back some of our some familiar faces. I gave the bag to some big names. Made a whole bunch of draft picks. How do the new look New York Jets look to you? Let me know in the comments below. What were some home runs? What were some big mistakes I made? Thank you for watching, and go New York Jets.